Hello. Today, I am covering Model H, the most infamous model in the Mega Man ZX series, and the model that won the poll I made, with 52% of people voting for it as of making this video. Before we get to everything, here's something new I'm gonna do. Whenever I cover a move, I will have their damage and combo values in the top right corner, so you can see what they do. A commenter requested this, and I thought it was a good idea, so thank you for that. Like the last two videos, I'll be covering the basics and more complex stuff with this model. Here's the games I'm covering, so let's get into it. Model H is based on Harpuya from the Mega Man Zero series. He's my second favorite Guardian from the series, but I think all of them are really cool. In Mega Man ZX, you get Model H after defeating High Volt, and it's upgraded by defeating Hurricane, and you get it by defeating Aeolus in ZX Advent. Model H has two weapons, both of them being sabers. Before we get to the attacks though, we need to get to the general stuff. Model H has the Biometal gauge. The Biometal gauge dictates if you can use charge moves or not, as if you run out, you cannot use charge moves. In Mega Man ZX, you also run out of Overdrive if you're out of Biometal gauge. The Biometal gauge does not refill in Mega Man ZX, but it does refill by 1 point every 3 seconds in ZX Advent. Model H has two movement options. Model H can air dash. The air dash allows you to go farther in the air than you would otherwise, and it's very fast. The air dash can also go up, which can let you get to places you wouldn't be able to normally, and save you from what would be certain death. You can do these after a dash jump, unlike the majority of the X series, where you couldn't air dash after a dash jump, other than Mega Man X3 since you can get the foot chip or gold armor. The other movement option is the hover. This lets you stay in the air for longer as you fall slower, allowing you to travel further horizontally. Something that can be annoying though is that if you drop through a platform, you hover no matter what. You can stop hovering and start hovering over and over in the same jump. You cannot air dash or hover in the water. Model H has a mechanic that is only in Mega Man ZX. The other Guardian models have this as well, and so does Model OX. This mechanic is the Overdrive, which is activated by tapping A. When you activate Overdrive, all of your attacks do double damage, and all of them inflict that model's respective element, Model H's being the Thunder element. It being the Thunder element is more important against bosses, so I'll cover that there. 1 point of the Biometal gauge is depleted upon activation, and 1 point is depleted every second. Charge attacks do spend the Biometal gauge as well. Model H also has the enemy analyzer on the bottom screen. This gives a health bar to all enemies, including mini-bosses. It will also show the weak point of the 8 pseudoroids, highlighted in red. In Mega Man ZX, the weak points are important because the more you hit them during a fight, the lower the level you get when you beat them. This correlates with the amount of Biometal gauge you get for a model after beating a pseudoroid, dictating how many charge moves you can use and how long you have Overdrive for. In ZX Advent, the weak points are only weak points. Moving on to the attacks, let's start with the main saber, as it has most of the attacks. Keep in mind that the other saber does have most of these as well. Starting off is the attack exclusive to the main saber, being the Slice. This move is very fast, and it's very easy to spam. Moving on to non-exclusive attacks for the main saber, the Walking Slice is also very easy to spam, and you can use the Slice right after that. There's also the Wall Slash, the Air Slash, and the Dash Slash, which is the exact same in both the ground and air. Model H has two charge moves in Mega Man ZX. They can be used by both of the sabers. The first move is the Electric Ball, which is performed by holding Y or R and releasing it without directional inputs. The Electric Ball will move towards any enemies on screen, even moving vertically if they're above or below. If there are no enemies in sight, it will move directly horizontally of whatever position you are facing. This move depletes 2 points of the Biometal gauge. The other one is the Tornado. This move is performed by holding Y or R, holding up, and then releasing it. The Tornado is massive, being able to cover almost the entire screen vertically. This move depletes 4 points of the Biometal gauge. Moving on to the other saber, its unique attack is the Slash. This move is a bigger slice, but slower as well. It's still pretty fast though. The final attack for this model in Mega Man ZX is the Sonic Boom. This attack is based on the triple slash Harpuya uses in the Zero series. Assuming you haven't switched what position the sabers are in, this move is performed by quickly pressing Y, R, and Y. This gives a different slashing move, and it fires off the Sonic Boom, which goes a moderate distance away from you. Moving on to the ZX Advent moves, as Gray, you get access to Plasma Cyclone V. This move is performed by holding Y or R and then releasing it. 2 tornadoes will summon that go diagonally up and diagonally down. This move depletes 4 points of the biometal gauge. As Ash, you get access to Plasma Cyclone H. This move is performed by holding Y or R and then releasing it. 2 tornadoes summon, 1 covering each side horizontally. The height of the tornadoes depends on your height, as they don't move vertically while on screen. This move depletes 4 points of the biometal gauge. Gray's overall is better, but Ash's can be really good as well. So it's really up to you which one you want to use. With all of that out of the way, let's move on to the complexities. Like with Model ZX, you can do reversals. Reversals are using a saber or a melee weapon equivalent, performing the attack, and quickly going left and right on the D-pad or joystick. Reversals can be hard to do at first, but get easier as you do them more. Reversals are good for getting more damage on enemies and mini-bosses, since they don't have invincibility frames. You can do reversals with Model H, ZX, L, F, and OX. For Model H, you can do reversals with the walking slash, but you have to be quick while doing it, and the air slash. In Mega Man ZX and ZX Advent, you can have several of Model H's charge moves on screen at the same time. You do this by holding both of the buttons, and doing whatever move you choose with them. This is easier to do in ZX, as the electric balls move slowly, and the tornadoes do not move. You can do it in ZX Advent though, you just need good timing and keeping a tornado on screen for a while. This is easier to do as Ash, as you only have to worry about horizontal distance. It's kinda dumb to be completely honest with you, but it does have its uses, like absolutely murdering every enemy and mini-boss you see. I'm moving on to the stages. This is where arguably Model H does best. I don't think I need to say it, but Model H by far has the best movement out of all models in the series. The air dashes allow you to get to places most other models can only dream of getting to, and hovering allows you to stall in the air for longer. Activating and conserving overdrive makes almost all enemies and mini-bosses in the stages a joke, and platforming becomes way easier. Model H also has some unique interactions, like in Area C, where you can activate the vehicles with Tornado, Area G where you can put out the fires, making the stage easier, and Area L, where if you hit the mini satellites with a Thunder Element move, they will be turned off longer than if they were hit with a Null Element move. Area M is where Model H gets to show its mobility the best, as you can ignore parts of the platforming and make a lot of it easier. It can also do the water part of Area M on its own, but you do need damage boosting for it. However, this model isn't good at every stage. It gets nerfed in the water, because you can't air dash or hover in the water, making platforming a little more difficult there. And without the biometal gauge, it heavily struggles with range. In ZX Advent, Model H stays really good. It makes parts of Arctic Ice Flow, Tower Overdue, and Legion HQ a joke. It's great in the scrapyard, since you can fly over the large gaps. And tornadoes are useful to cover the falling parts, making it way more bearable to go through. In the control center, Model H is also very useful, as the upward air dashes make the vertical sections go way smoother. You can also access the area meant for Rosspark, which is really funny. The floating ruins is made for this model. You can still gain height even if your jump is taken away by the pulse cannons, thanks to the upward air dash. And the wind sections are a joke, since the hover cancels out the tornadoes, and how they rise you upward. Model H is great in Ouroboros because the tornadoes can go through several of the red hazards, making it a lot less difficult. However, stages like the Biolab, Mysterious Lab, or really any stage that's linear, Model H can't really show its potential. The Waterfall Ruins is one of Model H's worst stages, as you can't complete the water sections with the spikes, so you have to use Model L instead. Overall, Model H is an excellent model in a lot of the stages, as it makes platforming easier, enemies more manageable, and you can get through stages faster, making it a godsend in speedrunning. The stages where it struggles though, you need to pick different options. With all of that done, let's get to the bosses, where Model H and the Thunder element really get to shine. Model H is amazing against most enemies. In ZX, using basically any move with Overdrive one-shots most enemies, and even without it, you can still do a lot of damage thanks to the reversals and charged moves. It's a little worse in Advent, since you lose Overdrive, but you can still take out enemies pretty fast, and use reversals for the tankier ones. Against mini-bosses, if you've seen the other two videos, it should be self-explanatory how it does against them in Mega Man ZX. The reason why this happens isn't because it's just really good or does a lot of damage. This is because of a technique which is known as damage stacking. This originates from the Zero series. It's basically when two moves collide on the same frame on an enemy or mini-boss. The two moves will do damage every frame they still collide, meaning some mini-bosses can be killed in only a few seconds. Mini-bosses like the Magma Devil, Keen Flyer, and Met are especially vulnerable to this, since they stay in the same spots for a long time. Tentalamias aren't though, because the tentacles will immediately retract when they get hit. In ZX Advent, since the long-lasting tornado is replaced with tornadoes that disappear once they hit something, damage stacking isn't possible, meaning it does worse overall against mini-bosses. You can still do good damage, mainly due to reversals and how quick some moves are, but they can no longer be killed in seconds like in Mega Man ZX. Moving on to bosses, before I cover how good it is against them, the reason why when I covered the attacks, there are 2 damage values, is because bosses will take half the damage from all attacks, other than attacks that only deal 1 damage. Here are the combo charts for both Mega Man ZX and ZX Advent. They both should be on screen right now. And as mentioned earlier in the video, Model H is a model of the Thunder element. The element system works like this. Thunder is good against fire, fire is good against ice, ice is good against thunder, and Null does the same damage against everything. What this means is that any thunder move will deal more damage and stun fire bosses. When a fire boss is stunned, their collision is turned off for a little bit of time, meaning you can go through them, opening up new combos. Thunder is neutral to itself in the Null element, although activating Overdrive against a thunder boss will not increase damage. And ice? Yeah, ice bosses take no damage from attacks of the Thunder element, so those fights take a while to get through, mainly because you do little damage without it. This means that Model H is by far the worst model to use against ice bosses. Electric Ball into Air Slash into Grounded Dash Slash is a pretty simple combo. This combo can be risky, but if you're against a fire boss, there's no risk at all. The reason why I say Grounded Dash Slash is because the Air Dash Slash has the same hit priority as the Air Slash, while the Grounded Dash Slash has a bigger priority, meaning it combos after that. Keep in mind you do have to position Electric Ball well so that way the slice or slashes don't hit a boss, because if they do, Electric Ball just won't do any damage. Walking Slash into Sonic Boom is pretty good. It does a good amount of damage and can be safe in the right circumstances, but you have to be close to the boss, because the Sonic Boom's projectile and the slash have different priorities. So if the slice and slash hit, but the slash exclusive to Sonic Boom doesn't hit, the Sonic Boom won't hit either, since slice has the same priority, and slash has a higher priority than the Sonic Boom's projectile. Of course, you can combine the 2 combos together. Grounded Dash Slash and the Walking Slash have the same priority. Why haven't I mentioned Tornado yet? Well, it's incredibly, and I mean incredibly powerful. It can hit up to 16 times. And since its priority is so low, you can add it into the combos I mentioned earlier. Like Electric Ball, you do have to position it well, so the slice and slashes don't hit the boss, and make the tornado useless. If you do though, it does so much damage to everything that isn't an ice boss, and Overdrive just amplifies it. ZX Advent is basically the same, except you remove Overdrive, the Tornado from ZX, and replace Electric Ball with Advent's Tornadoes. The combos can still do a good amount of damage, but they pale in comparison to what you can do in ZX. The air dashes and hovers can help you dodge certain moves easier. Keep in mind though that some bosses, especially Omega, can take advantage of this. In Mega Man ZX, Model H is amazing against every boss that isn't an ice boss. If you know how to properly combo, you can do so much damage that most bosses end in less than 30 seconds. Tornado is almost guaranteed to hit something. It will usually deal at least half a health bar if the boss stays there. And against fire bosses, it can deal up to 2 full health bars. Tornado is especially good against Serpent's second phase, as he always stays in the same spot, making it easy to hit. ZX Advent is different though, losing its most broken moves in Overdrive, making bosses go way slower. Fire bosses can still go pretty fast, but they won't die in one combo. The new Tornadoes do have their uses though. If you are Gray against Atlas, you can use Tornadoes to stop her Groundbreaker, and both characters can nullify the Blast Bomber. Both characters can also stop Bugfire's burning arrows. Against the Pandora and Prometheus fight, Model H cannot stop Prometheus' Flame Pillar attack, so you'll always get hit, meaning you have to switch to a different model. It does good against every other attack though. In Master Albert's fight, in the first phase, when the Blue Dragon uses its nose attack, you'll have to use the Sonic Boom at the right time so you don't get damaged. Overall, Model H is good against most bosses. In Mega Man ZX, it absolutely crushes everything that isn't an ice boss. And while in Advent, Model H does struggle against certain non-ice bosses, it still does a relatively good job against a good amount of them, like Aeolus and Rospark. This outro is going to be longer than others, more or less to give reasoning on why I gave it the title I did. I call it Overpowered because it's by far the best model in Mega Man ZX, making most others seem alright in comparison. But I also call it Overbearing, because without experimenting properly with other models, it gives the false belief that the other models are useless, leading to people usually never using them, calling them bad when other people talk about them, and a rude awakening in CX Advent once they learn it gets nerfed. I'm not saying this always happens. Only 1 or 2 people on the planet really believe that all other models are bad, but if people just don't know the true potential of the others, it can lead to that. I don't want to end this video on a negative note though. The next video in this series will be about Model P, and I can't wait to make it, and for you to check it out. I will be working on something before that though. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time with the Mega Man ZX Advent boss ranking.